Hey viewers, my name's Kara, and this is a video request from Brianna, who I will link to their channel right here. She asked me a couple of weeks ago to do a video on sort of the things that I do in my daily life that either have magical meaning for me or things that were previously mundane that I have now given magical meaning to because of my path. This is an assignment that she actually gave the group that she works with, and they had 2 weeks to think about all the things in their lives that have magical meaning or that they can give magical meaning to, and I sort of failed that 2-week deadline, so I would have failed that assignment. I apologize for this taking so long, but now it's here, better late than not at all. So, the back of Solitary Witch by Silver Ravenwolf says, "Enchant, empower, bewitch." Brianna's point in creating this assignment was that there's more to being a witch than being a witch. It is also being witch, having it throughout your whole life. So I came up with a list of things that I sort of give magical meaning to in my life, as well as things that are inherently magical. Let's start with the inherently magical things, because I think there are actually less of them and I don't do them every single day. Things like offerings and devotions can be a daily thing, or at least once a day, or maybe multiple times a day, that people give offerings to the god and goddess or their specific patron or matron deities at least once a day. I don't do that. When I take something from nature, I leave an offering, but I don't do like a daily offering type of thing. Regularly celebrating the Sabbats and Esbats would also be an inherently magical thing that you do all the time, and you make that part of your life. I have been practicing for a little over 7 years now, and I still struggle to make each and every one of them a part of my life. Every year there are a couple Sabbats that I always celebrate because I'm just used to celebrating them around that time, and there are others that I have not yet managed to celebrate at the right time because it's a busy time of the year, or because, I don't know, one reason or another, there are just things that I keep missing. Paying attention to the cycles of the sun and moon is also something that I do all the time, even if I end up not remembering to celebrate an Esbat or something, which I have actually been doing it more often recently, but it's never a big fancy ritual to me, it's just a little something or other, but I always pay attention to it. I say good morning to the sun and good night to the moon. Whenever I see them in the morning or at night, if I can see them out my window, I always say hello, kind of. So that has become a routine thing for me. Studying one oracle or tarot card per day, or pulling a card each day. I used to just pull a card from my oracle deck every day and make that kind of the fortune for my day type thing, and now I'm actually going through each day. I'm going through the deck in numerical order, and each day picking the next one so I can learn more about it. I got really busy last week and I stopped doing it, so I'm a little bit behind, but I'm picking that back up. Again, not something I do all the time, but when I remember to, I like to do the sun salutation, the yoga series of positions that's called the sun salutation. I like to do it in the morning to wake myself up and get energized and go, but sometimes I wake up far too late and I don't have time to do it, but I do it when I can. And meditation, I think, is an inherently magical thing that I don't do as often as I could. Now, on to the things that I do all of the time, maybe because of my belief, that aren't necessarily directly stemming from it, or things that I have given magical meaning since beginning this path about 7 years ago. I daydream a lot. I always have, and so since learning how to do that purposely, I think I'm really super good at visualization, so I tend to practice visualization a lot because I daydream a lot. I put a big emphasis on not calling people names and not stooping to other people's childishness in arguments, and I think that has a lot to do with this path. I try my best to see everything positively, or find the silver lining in everything, or at least I work to dispel the negativity either just by thinking more positively, or if I need to, by spellcraft. I eat well, due in part to wanting to eat natural things, and due in part to wanting to take care of my mind and body. I notice little things, and I purposely stop to observe animals or plants or just any little detail that I think is kind of interesting, and I tend to find everything interesting in some way. If it's not interesting, you're not looking hard enough. I talk to plants, and my banana peppers are doing quite well. I analyze dreams and other kinds of symbols, and I try to pay attention to the lessons that may need to be learned mind if the same kind of symbol keeps showing up in my life. Whether it's the same number, the same animal, just anything like that, if it keeps reoccurring, I tend to think about what that could mean for me. I use herbs, oils, crystals, things like that in my daily life for things like relaxation, stress relief, energizing. I have a lavender oil that I wear all the time right before a show or right before a rehearsal to calm me down and get me focused. I have eaten a green apple backstage at rehearsal before when I was really tired because someone told me it would energize me. Same thing with oranges. I might carry a crystal that would give me the energy that I need for that day, whether it's a higher energy or a lower energy or a calmer, that kind of thing. I try to also learn as much as possible about the things that I own so that I can use them more effectively. Like if I have a stone, I make sure that I know its properties right away since I have it. Sometimes I also look up the properties and meanings of things that I don't have, but if I have it, I definitely make sure I know how to use it. I find new uses for things. Lots of mundane things can be used in ritual just as easily as big fancy tools. I make up spells based on what I have and where I am and whether the feeling strikes me, which is how I ended up doing flower affirmations. And I did a video on that, which I'll put here. I go outside a lot. I purposely change my awareness by breaking habits periodically. I walk a different way to class, I rearrange my room, I wear my hair on the opposite side, or I wear my purse on the opposite shoulder. Which, if you carry a purse, you know makes a lot of difference. I want my beliefs to be accepted, so I make it a point to accept and defend other people's beliefs, and this goes back to the no name-calling thing. I share my beliefs with others who want to know. It not only helps them know a little bit more about who I am, but it also helps me reaffirm what I believe, because a lot of the time, someone else will ask me a question about something that I've never had to consciously think about, and that's why the Pagan Perspective is so helpful. I learn as much as I can about other religions whenever it comes up. I may not be constantly learning about new religions, but whenever I meet someone who follows a different religion, I learn as much as I can about it by Googling really quick. I talk to them to learn some of the more personal aspects or the things that didn't come up under basic searches, and I try to see the similarities between my beliefs and theirs. A lot of the time, there are a lot of similarities that people don't notice at first. Along with religions, I try to find the similarities between me and other people. Being in theater is often a very spiritual experience for me, because we also have traditions and rituals, and I get to learn what parts of a created character are also within me, and the things that I can learn from other people, and the things that I can offer them. I tend to know myself very well. I observe, I question, and I am honest above all, with others as with myself. I know my bad qualities as well as my good, so that when the bad ones try to sneak in there, I can try to see them before it happens and deal with it. Do I always succeed? No, I slip up, I'm human, but because I know what they are, I can kind of keep a lookout and try my best to keep them down. I'm able to catch myself and know what I was thinking or feeling and why, and that helps me stay in check at other times. I think that being a good Wiccan or being a good witch is a lot like being a good person, or being a good whatever other religion you might believe. It's about setting a good example, being kind to others, knowing yourself, and knowing how to use what is given to you for your benefit. It's about knowing that everyone is different, everyone does things differently, but we can all learn from each other. And the learning never stops. Even if you become an expert in a field, which I definitely do not think I am, the learning never stops because you're always learning from new experiences and new people that come your way. That's why I think that people who claim to know everything are people to stay away from. By all means, learn everything you can about anything related to a topic, and I think that I really have gotten that from this path because I try to learn as much as I can about other people's beliefs. I try to learn as much as I can about anything that I'm interested in, even the sides that are not my personal area, just to have kind of a good scope, a good outlook of the entire picture. So learn everything you can, use what works for you, and let the rest fall to the wayside. Remember that those things might be right for someone else and just as valid for them as your beliefs are for you. Most of the things I just mentioned apply to all people and all situations, so you can use them no matter who you are or what you follow. Long story short, it's hard to separate my magical life from my mundane life because they influence each other so much. There are probably a lot of things that I even forgot to mention because they're just so ingrained that I don't even think about it, and I'm sure that's possible, but I hope that was at least interesting for those of you who were assigned to watch this video and see what I had to say, and for Brianna, and for those of you who have absolutely no idea what I was talking about. I just hope this was an interesting video to hear me talk about things that I find magical in my life and ways that my religion has influenced my daily life. That being said, thank you all very much for watching, blessed be, and I will see you when I see you. Bye! Blah, 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 blah. Any lessons that might need to be learned. Okay,